Welcome to the podcast. This is the Voice Box podcast with Mbuna King Henry Mellon. I'd like you to be a part of this one. So yes, do click the subscription button as well as the bell, just so when we drop and upload anything on this YouTube channel, you get the notification first. Or also you can check it through my Facebook page, that's King Henry Mellon, as well as my Instagram, King Henry Mellon, KingHenryMallan. There you go, you have it, you found me. You can also check me out on my Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, in this season we are looking at the Women's Month. So in this month we will be talking to various ladies that will be coming through to this podcast to have a chat. Of course, some part of this podcast will be airing on Capital FM, a radio station that I work with in Blantyre. So do catch some part of it in the Daybreak Malawi program that happens from 7 o'clock going all the way till 8, as well as inside my Traffic Jam show that comes every Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday from 4 o'clock till 7 p.m. on Capital FM. This is the Voice Box podcast with King Henry Mellon, Mbuna. This is where we will be able to voice out whatever we've kept blocked for so long and for some time, so maybe we need to let it out. This is our podcast. Let's come and make that noise. Subscribe, yo, subscribe. In our previous episode, this is how our conversation went.
My name is Clara Gampeni, Catholic University student representing Makazi Foundation on Women in Science.
My name is Kate Bendame. I'm a fourth-year student at the Catholic University of Malawi, and I am a Yali alumni as well as a U-grade alumni, and I'm volunteering with the Makazi Foundation. I'm also here to talk about women when it comes to economic empowerment.
I am Christine Mandarasi. I am a biomedical engineer by profession, but I'm currently working as a biomedical researcher at Malawi Level Welcome Program.
Hi, my name is Angel Malunga. I'm the project manager at an organization called Sycamore Consult, where we do training and consultancies. I'm here with you today to speak on economic freedom, on the aspect of investing and how women can use investing as an avenue for financial freedom.
Hi everyone, I'm Tokozani Mafupia. I am the Deputy Executive Director for Lydia Action. We're a local NGO based in Zomba. I'm here to represent women, to emphasize the need for protection of women, especially in terms of the inequality that comes with pay, the gender pay gap issue. We need to understand that women are fundamentally disadvantaged right from birth. The issue of gender pay gap is not just about money, but it's more about the reasons behind that. Women take up more responsibilities, not just a paid work, but also unpaid work.
In order for women to be truly economically free, it stems from the issue of money. So being financially free. So how do you become financially free? You invest in yourself, and you invest in things that are going to produce money for you.
Firstly, growing up, I'd always wanted to be a doctor. Studying biomedical engineering, I felt this deep sense of obligation toward people around me. I felt like there was something that I could do to help create better outcomes for people who, they're suffering from diseases like TB, especially infectious diseases, noting that that's one of the diseases that are actually, infectious diseases are actually, one of the major killers in Africa and sub-Saharan and other African countries like Malawi and sub-Saharan countries in general.
Basically, Women in Science just highlights the importance of recognizing and promoting the role of women in science and working towards gender equity in the scientific community. As we're currently talking about sustainable development and sustainable development agendas, we look at harnessing everyone's talent, and this includes placing women in these fields, these specific fields, like women in science, women in agriculture, women in technology, women in mathematics,
I recently bought my first car in, let me just say it arrived in December of last year. But I actually own 7 vehicles that I use to make me money. People actually paid for my car. I didn't pay for it. I bought 7 cars and let other people do the work for it.
I believe ladies are diverse thinkers.
Yeah.
We just don't wake up today and just have one thing that we think we can do.
Yeah.
Because already looking at how the community had to put their roles or different perspectives towards women, it's already like we belong to the triple roles, which is the reproductive role, the productive role, and at the same time the community work.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the community work, you notice that most women do not have access and control to most resources.
My ladies, my girlies, a man is not a financial plan. Okay? A man is not a financial plan. You need to have your own money.
Yes.
You have to make your own sources of income. If you're going to have a man who is powerful and influential and gives you money, let that just be a bonus to what you already have. Don't make that the main thing, because what that does is that it restricts you. You're never going to be 100% financially independent or 100% financially free. And what you having your own money does is it gives you the freedom to be with who you actually want to be with, not who you have to be with.
Absolutely.
Because without them, you are nothing. Please, that's my last point. Make sure that above all, a man is not your solution. You are your own solution, because at the end of the day, you only have yourself. You never know what can happen in this life. So make sure the only thing you can be guaranteed is you and how you are going to back yourself. So please make sure that in everything that you do, you make sure that you are 100% financially independent and only rely on yourself.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we meet another group of ladies who we will be talking to King Henry Mellon, Lekhenolo, Mwanawa Auntie Betty. Let's hear from the ladies what they had to say when we had a good chat when we met up this time. All right, and I am back on your podcast. This is the Voice Box podcast with Lekhenolo, King Henry Mellon, Mwanawa Auntie Betty. Of course, like I mentioned earlier on in the other one, that will be coming every week to talk about things. Today, I'm here again with ladies, yet again, because we're celebrating the ladies this month. So as we're still celebrating the ladies, today I do have two of them who I'm talking to right now about something. But before we get to what we will be talking about, I would love if you know them. Who am I talking to today?
So you're talking to Sharon Rose Mbuna, a lawyer by profession, a founder of an organization called Aspire Connect, which is a non-profit organization that fosters quality education as well as community development.
And you are talking to Audrey Mudzengerere, an educationist by profession who has worked with boys and girls in many different schools as a principal of the school.
Hi, now, because I've heard education, let's jump straight to it. Education is a topic that we can put together, but because we're looking at the ladies, how about we look at what is happening with education with the ladies? Let's start talking about it.
When it comes to education with ladies, I think taking it back to our country, there are a lot of disparities that we face. And with this, I mean the gender gaps that we have, in the sense that we have a lot of boys that are in school compared to the girls. So this is as a result of several or various factors that stem from social factors, economical factors, financial factors, as well as cultural factors that come into play. And this is going to be what we're going to be discussing on basically.
And when we talk about these disparities in education, we are basically talking about the enrollment rates that we have. That is the number of girls as compared to the number of boys in the schools. We are talking about the dropout rates. And the dropout rates, we are looking basically at the number of students who leave school before they complete their studies. We are also talking about the literacy rate.
Yes.
How many in our country are able to read and write?
Yeah.
And we are also talking about how to address these disparities.
Yeah.
And the factors that influence these gender disparities is basically the social economic factors. And on social economic factors, we are looking at poverty.
Yeah.
How does poverty affect
Education.
Yes, and you would find that usually people they have preferences when it comes to the child. Mm-hmm. They would rather send the boy child to school rather than the girl child because of the belief.
Yeah.
That's a cultural belief that the girls will not give you much when they finish school than the boys. The boys, yes, they'll bring more money and they will be able to look after the families.
All right. Now, since we've looked at all of that, I just want to know, you've mentioned about the dropout rates, the enrollment rates. Maybe if we talked about the enrollment rates, that could also transpire into a lot of issues that you've talked about. Let's say, why do you think that many girls are not going to school despite the fact that boys are preferred the most, but we do have, we should say, a large number of women, and I should say girls, in the word. If we were to put a 50-50, we don't have the 50-50 in the numbers of men and women. So why is it that we're still having it hard to send the girls to school?
There are cultural beliefs that people have, religious factors as well.
Yes.
And you would find that there are these early marriages
Yes.
that girls are forced into. Instead of going to school, they get married.
Yes.
And obviously, that will reduce the number of girls that we have in schools.
Yes.
To add on, I think girls are unmotivated. So this is where everyone else needs to chip in to bring forth empowerment programs that are going to empower girls in the education system. So like you have already discussed, to say that a lot of girls drop out of schools due to several cultural beliefs, but now we need more people who can come in to encourage these girls not to drop out of schools and not to get married at an early stage, so that they should be able to pursue their education further. So there's need for more empowerment programs and initiatives in this country for girls.
Should the government maybe do something about it, or maybe it starts in our communities before it gets to the government?
Well, both, yes. You would find that the government, in terms of dropouts, the government also needs to come in and make sure that the infrastructure in the schools is up to date, so that it can keep the girl child in school. For example, you would find that the girls require more than the boys in terms of their biological makeup.
Sanity and the like.
Yes, sanitation is one major factor that the government must look into. The schools must have these facilities that will allow the girl to continue coming to school every day.
Yes.
Most girls don't come to school at certain periods each month.
Yeah.
Especially during the time they are experiencing their menstrual cycle.
Yes.
Because of the facilities in the school.
All right. You want to add something to it?
Just add on, I agree with what she says, in the sense that I think it's something that needs to be worked on by all stakeholders. So not only leaving it up to the government, but as well as, like you said, the non-governmental organizations can come in, as well as the community leaders should also come in the sense that they should play a role of encouraging young girls in the communities to get back to school, as well as they should be able to bring forth programs such as scholarships for girls that's going to entice them to get back to school.
I've not only seen it in the Mudzi where girls drop out, especially maybe when they write their MSc, and even in the Mudzi when they write their MSc is something like a big achievement, but also it's happening in town. How do we get these girls back to school after their high school, we should say? Because MSc is something that maybe when they write and they see the points that they do have, they get a little drawn back to say, I don't think I can further my education with such points that I've gotten. Maybe it's also an influence from the parents, or maybe the community altogether. How can we deal with this syndrome?
I'm sure the ministry can come up, or the government can come up with policies that encourage more girls to be enrolled in universities. I am sure the government has made efforts in introducing the 50-50 policies, where the idea is to take the same number of girls as the same number of boys in schools.
Yes.
That's a big initiative, and these scholarships that Sharon talked about, they also help. The non-governmental organizations also need to come in with financial aid in order to make sure that these girls are in schools. And we have, gender-based violence in schools, and these girls experience a lot of this on their way to school and within schools. And this needs to be stopped. So policies will help a lot. And also civic education will help in the villages, especially against early child marriages. That will help.
Yeah, the community at large needs to be sensitized on those issues.
How can we sensitize the community, maybe to get something out of it? Because I believe, like we've mentioned about the non-governmental organizations that are there, do you think maybe the government and the NGOs are not doing enough, or what should we really do to just get everyone to hear this message? Because maybe we're not doing enough.
I think so far so good. We have at least quite a lot of NGOs that are doing these works. So I think we just need more of these leadership trainings, the mentorship sessions, as well as the workshops that they do to be conducted as well in various communities in Malawi throughout. So not only patronizing on or centralizing it on a specific district only, but throughout Malawi, in the sense that there are a lot of communities out there that need to be sensitized on the issues of their cultural beliefs with regards to sending their girl children to school.
Yes, and also you would find that the community needs to be educated on the importance of investing in a girl child in terms of education, and they should know that when you invest in a girl child, it reduces poverty, it improves labor force in the country, and also educated women are more likely to secure high-paying jobs. They are more likely to also make sure that their families are also educated.
Yeah, that's very true. I was just having a conversation last week. We're talking about the same thing. My boss is a lady to start with, which is something that's great.
Nice. Yeah, that's very nice.
Yes, and now on that note, you mentioned about good pay jobs. We did mention an issue to do with some ladies, for them to get that check, that paycheck that is as fat as Amanda's. There's some issues that they have to go through for them to get that. Is that another thing that's maybe demotivating the ladies to get educated and maybe be at a position where the others are?
Exactly. When these girls face these things, they are likely to drop out because they don't want to go through it. So they don't want to give in, which is good. Yes, but you would find that if the government comes in and puts policies in place, they are there, but it's the implementation that is the problem.
Effective? I think that should be the question.
There's room for enforcement.
All right, great. Now, you also introduced something to do with cultural beliefs that also, should we say, enforces some girls to drop out of school. Let's tackle that all together. Let's just talk about it all together.
When we talk about cultural beliefs, I would say we look at the influences that culture has on the education system, and more to be particular, girls. So we have instances whereby in some cultures they are more inclined to the idea that when girls reach a certain age they have to get married, and some usually drop out when they reach a certain age and they don't see school or education as of great importance, or that's going to serve them in the future, which is something that needs to be tackled. And this can be done through sensitizing most communities with regards to their culture that they practice.
Yes, and societal expectations, traditional gender roles, as well as stereotypes restrict the education development. You would find that most societies expect the girl child to be in the kitchen most of the time.
Yeah.
So at the expense of their education. So whenever people at home, people are expecting to eat, people are expecting dishes to be washed, people are expecting clothes to be washed, house to be cleaned, and it's all on the girl child. And those are some of the expectations of the society that also hinder the girls from concentrating on their education. Not to say that they shouldn't do roles in the homes, but I think this should not be at the expense of
their education.
Yes. While the boy child is studying, the girl child is busy working
in the kitchen.
So some of those responsibilities do affect the girls. And part of it is also the gender-based violence that we're talking about, to say it is acceptable in the society. It's part of culture that, well, this girl must be given to that man. And yet they needed to pursue their education. And now they are being given into marriage, like Sharon has said. And this is before they finished their education.
I think it also goes back to influences as well. Most girls in the communities are influenced by what their fellow female peers are doing. So if you see a certain lady or a girl who has also gotten married at such a young age, you see that as though that's their life. And the fact that they do not have role models to emulate, that also affects their retaining levels of girls going back to school. So I think we also need to work towards having good role models for girls in the communities to be able to influence them to work hard or to return back to schools.
And the community must be taught that education is not a profession.
Yes.
That is one thing that we are lacking. We think that when we get married, we have gotten there. Yeah. We are not empowered. We can't do anything on our own. We just want to rely on the man.
Yeah, that's true. All right, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about culture effects on education and especially on the girls, that's it about it. Moving on to another topic.
I think another aspect that we can chip in is with regards to the female role models that we have in our country. So there is need for more female role models to come up and to be able to motivate and encourage the young ones that are outside or that have dropped out of schools to be able to be motivated to get back to school or work hard if they are in school already. So this also plays a huge role for people to be able to know that there are huge females out there that are like, for example, Joyce Banda, and when you see these people, you feel motivated to also work hard and one day end up as them.
Yes, and you would find that most of the children would want to emulate somebody in life. If the girl child does not see a female who is in a position of authority, in a leadership position, they don't really think they can also make it. So just seeing somebody in that position encourages them. It makes them realize that if this one could do it, why can't I?
I can also do it.
Just
to add on to that, for example, the Minister of Education herself, Madam Wirima, she's a lady, she's a woman, and when one sees that lady, you would be so inspired to work hard in your field and be able to reach a stage where she has reached in her career. So I think that plays a huge role to the girls or young children, most especially in the communities, to say they are empowered, and if they have visits by such people, such role models, they get inspired to work hard in schools and not to drop out as most of them do.
All right. So you want to say something, Audrey?
Well, just to say, maybe just to say that the government has made a lot of efforts, but we still have a long way to go in achieving this gender equality. And it calls for collaboration between the education sector, the government, the NGOs, the community at large.
Yes. But on the brighter side, we're on the right track.
Great. So today, Audrey, or you're Sharon, you're the president. What do you do to call for these girls to be in school?
Well, I'll look at the policies that are in place. The policies that they must address this issue. Girls must be in school. And I think some of these policies can even introduce legal action that is taken against parents who do not take their children to school, who don't put their children in school. We have many of them in the villages there who are married at 14, 15 years old.
I'll tell you what, last year I had a great experience. I was at Cape Maclear. There was a festival that was happening there, and I was asking how they're handling the children there, and I was told, I was really happy to hear it, I was told that any parent who's not sending their children to school, they're being punished, and as well as the children, once they are found at home in times of class, they're told that the police come around to whip them into going to class.
Wow, that's
I believe if we emulated this in many districts in the country, we'll have a great number of kids going to school, or generally, yeah? Mm-hmm. But since we're looking at the girls, now, how many girls are being pushed to go to school in this area? Right. I think that could be the question. But altogether, like you said, we're on a great and
track.
On a good track to say we're sending kids to school. Yes, but we should send more girls to school for particular reasons. Some of them that you guys are saying and addressing on this one, yeah?
Yeah. To add on, if I was president, I would say we should work on our enforcement mechanisms, in the sense that, yes, some policies may be there. We have laws on gender-based violence. Mm-hmm. We have laws on how, maybe regulations on how teachers should conduct themselves. They should not undermine maybe the girl child and compared to the boy child, but now it's how it's being enforced. There's law enforcement mechanisms that are put out and that are being carried out in most schools and communities at large. So I would work on that. There's more room that's needed for us to work towards enforcing these policies and laws that are out there that exist.
Yes, I agree with Sharon completely that we need to enforce the laws. How are these girls getting married at 15, at 14, and the perpetrators are going scot-free?
Yeah. All right, great conversation we've had. Is there anything more we need to add to that?
I think that's it from me.
Yeah, I think we're good to go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it about today and our conversation to do with education. Now, before I let you guys go, they've heard me say Audrey and they've heard me say Sharon, but maybe you might want to put your names up together again with your surnames. They'll probably see your faces on the podcast, but on the radio here, they can't see you. They can only hear you.
Audrey Mudzengerere.
Yes. And I'm Sharon Rose Mbuna. I like to put my middle name.
Guys, we definitely will meet again on the next one. My name, you already know it. We're back on the podcast again. This is the Voice Box podcast with Leshonalo King, Henry Mel, and Mona Antibid. I'll see you on the next one. Let's get to chat more. I'm definitely going to meet these ladies again because this is just the beginning.